Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Hold On to Them podcast. I'm your host, Erin, and today I wanted to talk about my second benefit concert and how I went from finishing the Delaware concert in 2022 and deciding on doing another one. So I'm from Boston, or outside of Boston, and that's where my dad is from. And so when I was done with the Delaware concert, I mentally was done. I was like, this was so much work. I never want to do another one again. I was pretty set on that decision. And then there was a little bit of inspiration afterwards, and I was like, maybe I could do this again. Maybe if I did it in a different location, it would bring like a different amount of people, because it was very hard selling tickets for Delaware, and part of me thought that maybe it was because of the location, that it wasn't that popular of an area, or the population was lower. So I talked to one of my friends, and she was like, yeah, I think that Boston would bring in a lot of people, might have a bigger turnout. So I thought about it. I looked into a couple venues, and then I changed my mind, and I was like, no, I don't want to do it again. It was so much work. Like, I'm dreading everything I would have to do another one. But then I changed my mind, obviously, and I don't exactly know what it was that really turned me around to it, but I think I probably talked to a couple of my friends, and I just decided to bite the bullet. And the first thing I did was reach out to venues, and there were a couple I reached out to. I think only one had responded, and it was Brighton Music Hall, and they were asking for a lot of money, though, to rent the space to do the concert. And I wasn't confident enough that I would be able to sell the amount of tickets to even break even for that amount. So I had to tell them no. One of my friends from back home had reached out when I had told her that I was wanting to do another concert, and she suggested Arts at the Armory because her father used to work in the cafe there. So I reached out to them, and when they responded back, their asking price was like extremely low compared to the asking price of Brighton Music Hall. It was even cheaper actually than the Wilmington, Delaware space. So I said yes, and we picked a date. I wanted it to be in September because that was the original date I had wanted for my first benefit concert, because it's Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. And I believe I picked the 23rd because I am a huge fan of One Tree Hill, and September 23rd is One Tree Hill Day. So I thought that was a good omen, and so that was the date I picked. So once the venue was booked, I started reaching out to artists, and the first person I reached out to was Johnny, because he was a part of the first benefit concert. He was the first musician I had thought of before my first benefit concert idea even came into my head. And so I really wanted him to be a part of it. And he is from Massachusetts, so I knew that it's like his home state. That would mean a lot to him. And he was living there too, so he wouldn't have had to worry about transportation or travel, which he did end up moving to LA in the time that I booked him for the show, and the show happened, but he didn't mind coming home for it. So after I got him on board, I think the next person I reached out to was Jared because he was a friend of my friend's sister. So Nicole Van Brammer, who did the photography for the show, her sister, who helped with graphics during the beginning of me doing the second benefit concert, she had gone to school with Jared, so she knew of him. He signed on. He was excited to be a part of it. So that was great. We got 2 down. I think in my head I wanted to have 4 again because I thought that was a good number. We had a lot of success with that number at the previous show, so I thought that doing 4 again would be a good number. So that was what I had in my head. So I had Johnny and Jared. I wanted to book 2 girls, I think was like my goal, so that I had 2 of each like the previous show. So my friend Autumn, who I mentioned in a previous episode, who used to run a convention company, suggested Alex, and I knew who Alex was, but I didn't know that she was an active musician. I had known her from So Weird, and I think I may have heard her music from back then, but I didn't follow her in her adult career, and I didn't know that she was making music. So once I listened to it and like looked at her Instagram, scrolled through her posts, I was like, okay, Alex is perfect. Like this is exactly the kind of person that I want for the benefit concert. So I emailed her and got a response from her management immediately, right away. And they immediately were like, this is something Alex wants to do. So that was so exciting. That happened like instantly. I think by the time I emailed her and she like signed the contract, it was either like the same day or just like days in between, which was so exciting. So it felt like we were in motion, like the momentum of things happening and coming together is what makes me inspired to do these concerts, because I kind of forget about like the negative downsides of it or like the stressful parts. I'm just like, well, the wheels are in motion and everything is coming together, so this just feels right. So after I reached out to Alex, I believe that was when I reached out to Temecula Road, and they were a duo, male and female singer from Nashville, and they had a bit of country music to them. We booked them, announced them, and then unfortunately, like a month later, they disbanded. And so I had to cancel their appearance. So I was looking for another female, and that was when I came across Grace. I think I may have... There's something about American Idol that draws me to the Google search bar. I just think about... It's someone that is very talented vocally, someone that the world already kind of knows of, and I can find out where they are based just by like Googling them. So I may have been Googling Boston American Idol contestants, and I found an article about Grace and how she went to Berkeley for music, the college in Boston. And so I reached out to her agent and booked her. He was pretty quick to respond as well, which was exciting, and she wanted to be a part of it and signed on. So I had 2 girls and 2 boys, and I'm not exactly sure what was the motivating factor in reaching out for a 5th, but I was just inspired and called upon to do so. So I reached out to Drew Seeley's agent, and he was also interested in being a part of it, and then I booked him. So I had the 5 artists, and this whole process it started in January of 2023 when I started emailing and trying to book artists. And I think it took up until the summertime maybe to book them all. I haven't scrolled through Instagram to know the exact dates of when I started and when I finished, but it was a long process. It wasn't just like I emailed them all within a week and they responded and everything was fine. It takes a bit of time to work with the agents and managers and come up with numbers and schedules and stuff like that. While I was booking the artists, I was coming up with, I wanted the pricing to be the same as my previous concert, and I wanted to be able to offer the same things. So we still did the VIP where you come into the show ahead of time and you're able to meet all of the artists and take a photo with them, and you get a lanyard and an autographed poster. Since this concert was in Massachusetts, I decided to have the funds go to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Massachusetts chapter. And I had emailed the third-party event form, and they approved it. And I think it was about the springtime where Heather and Jess from the AFSP Massachusetts reached out to me, and they were like, we just saw that you're doing this concert and we're really excited about it, and let us know any way we can help. And they were really great about posting it and sending it out in emails, which was really kind of them. I reached out to someone that I had heard of from one of the One Tree Hill conventions I've attended before. He was making graphics for these conventions, and they were phenomenal. And I went to his website and I saw that he was actually a Boston native. He resided in Boston. So I reached out to him and I said, hey, I love your work. You are super talented. Do you have any interest in making graphics for this benefit concert that I'm hosting in September? And you can obviously come to the show for free if you're able to donate your time and skills. And Andy was absolutely amazing. And he was like, yes, I would love to do that. And Andy has been so amazing ever since then, too. He made the graphic for this podcast. Anytime I have an idea, he is more than willing to help. He helped with images on the website, the Hold On Till Dawn website. And I'm just so grateful to have met him and had his amazing designs be a part of this. Another cool thing that we had for this concert that we didn't for the last was my fiance's company that he works for made a backdrop for us for the photos, for the VIP photos. So that was so cool to have a huge backdrop with the Hold On Till Dawn logo. Andy made the graphic for it, and then Andrew's company was able to print it out and send it to us. So that was phenomenal. And then I reached out to companies again for donations. This time I specifically reached out for itemized donations because, like I had said in the previous episode, I had realized that companies were more likely to donate products than monetary donations. So we were able to have donations from the Patriots, Intelligent Change, Zoo New England, Bubble, Remnant Brewing, Gaiam, Olive and June, Venture Pal, Little Words Project, Rainbow OPTX, and Pinch Me Dough. So that was so awesome to be able to have all those companies donate products, and that helped us raise an additional amount of money. For the promotion side, I did what I had done previously in Delaware. Me and my fiance went around Boston and hung up flyers and posters and put them all around any place we could, like college campuses. There's a lot of them in Boston, so that was my main target, especially since Grace had gone to Berkeley. I wanted to put it out there in that area of Massachusetts. I emailed local news stations and added the event to the Boston calendars that were online, like I had done with Delaware, and tried to spread it through social media as much as I could through my friends and family. I had a lot of friends and family that were there because I have such a big community in Massachusetts. So that was really exciting and really awesome to have them be there. So yeah, that is about everything that went into making the second concert. And I'm going to do a whole other episode in September talking about it around like the 1 year anniversary. But this episode was just about my planning process with it and how it was different than the first. And it was still really challenging and difficult at times, but I definitely had a calmer headspace, I think, because I kind of knew to an extent what to expect because I had done it the previous year. So yeah, I think that's about everything. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you next time. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Our website is holdontilldawn.com, and our email is holdontilldawn@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at holdontilldawn and on Facebook at Hold On Till Dawn Benefit Concert. See you next time.